Hello friends, welcome back to our Halloween month where I'll be watching all kinds of horror movies and telling you about it. Today, let's talk about the best horror movies of 2019 so far. I'm going to mostly focus on the best indie horror movies of 2019 to give you a chance to discover movies that you might not have heard about. Some are psychedelic, some are funny, and some are even magical. Before we start, if you like movie-related videos, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notifications every time I upload a new video. So here we go, the best indie horror of 2019 so far. First on the list is Tigers Are Not Afraid, or as titled in Spanish, Vuelven. The movie follows a group of children who have lost their parents to the cartel wars in their town. An orphan girl is armed with 3 wishes to save herself and her friends from the violence closing in around them. This movie really surprised me, and I hope more people see it. While it is not as full-on horror as you might think, the elements of magical realism bring in the horror in the form of the dead and the victims of the cartels. The magical elements come from the children and their innocence even when they're surrounded by this type of environment, and the darkness and the horror comes from the adults and their actions. It is a beautiful mixture of fantasy and horror, all the while grounded in the reality of many people who live similar situations. The movie is available on Shudder, which you can subscribe to separately or through Amazon Prime. Next up is Braid, directed by Midsummer. 2 women who are running away from the police decide to rob their mentally unstable friend who is isolated in her decaying mansion. However, in order to be invited in, they're going to have to play her little game, a game of pretend they have been playing since they were children. I really enjoyed this debut film by Perioni. The relationship of the 3 girls, as the title suggests, is intertwined in ways that can't be undone. The direction of photography is beautiful, the performances were great, in particular Madeline Brewer, whom you might know from Handmaid's Tale. It is not a perfect movie, there were some things I wish had been done differently, but overall it's suspenseful, trippy, and twisty in unexpected ways. Braid is available to rent on Amazon Prime. Next up is Loose, a German movie about a taxi driver who is trying to get away from an entity that is obsessed with her. Loose is a short movie, around an hour and 10 minutes even with credits, but it's incredibly weird and hypnotizing from the very beginning. It was shot in 35mm film, and the overall aspect of it is gritty and unnerving. I will say the first 10 minutes are slow and strange, but everything starts moving along after that, and it is quite a treat. It might not be a movie for everyone, but I particularly loved the camera work and the use of the set. They did so much with just a few rooms and transported the audience to different atmospheres and times with very little. Like I said, it's very strange and you might feel like some pieces are missing, like 30 extra minutes. But I think the conclusion makes sense and it makes for a good conversation afterwards. Loose is also available to rent on Amazon Prime. Next up on my list is Midsummer. I will be honest, I keep changing my opinion about this movie. Some days I love it, other days not so much. Regardless, I think it's an experience worth having for any horror movie fan. Midsummer follows a dysfunctional young couple on a trip to a commune in Sweden as they try to put a band-aid on their clearly broken relationship. There is a lot to love about this movie. The details of the dynamic between the main characters are incredible. It felt like it came from a real place and you can tell just how fragile things are between them at the moment. And it's a pretty good realistic example about dating someone who is emotionally unavailable. They bring in something new to the horror genre, which is the idea of brightness and never-ending days. A strange concept in horror movies, which normally they live in the shadows and in darkness. The images are stunning and the color palette is out of this world. However, there is a lot to criticize, and at times I don't think the movie is as complex as it's pretending to be. Like I said, I'm kind of on the fence about this movie, but that doesn't mean I don't think you should watch it. If you want to see it, Midsummer is available to rent or buy on Amazon Prime and on Google Movies. The next movie in this psychedelic horror subgenre is Climax. Climax, a French film, is loosely based on real events, and I do mean loosely based. The movie follows a group of dancers whose drinks have been spiked with LSD in a rehearsal. Man, I only just noticed, but most of these movies are tripping balls as hell. This causes their rehearsal to descend into darkness, and they must face inner demons, panic, and violent natures. The film is directed by Gaspar Noé, so have you ever seen any of his movies like Enter the Void or Irreversible? Oh man. Then you have an idea what this movie will be like. It can be disturbing at times and beautiful in others, and overall just a very uncomfortable vibe. It drags in certain points and at other times you just can't get enough of it. The dancing in the film is hypnotizing, and when the LSD trip starts, reality is distorted and people's inner instincts rise to the surface. There are about 6 long uncut scenes, which helps you feel like you are also in this trip with them, lost and disoriented about what the hell is going on. The colors and images around the building help segment the scenes, and it is done beautifully. Is it weird? Beyond. Are some moments unnecessary or inexplicable? Yes. However, I think this beautiful horror trip stays with you for a while, and it's worth seeing. Climax is included on Amazon Prime if you feel like watching it. My last choice in the indie horror movies of 2019 is the Australian film Little Monsters, starring Lupita Nyong'o. This horror comedy follows a bright, bubbly teacher and a miserable, down-on-his-luck musician as they take a group of kids on a field trip. Things take a turn when the little farm is invaded by zombies. The teacher, Miss Caroline, is on a mission to keep every children safe, but most importantly, to make them feel like this is all a game and they have nothing to be afraid of. I love when zombie movies explore something outside of its subgenre, and there is a lot to love in Little Monsters. The comedy is on point from the very beginning, and seeing Lupita protect these kids while keeping them untraumatized is also just adorable. I know she stole the show in Us earlier this year, but this performance should not go unnoticed. It's sweet, it's funny, it's gory and silly, and overall a real feel-good kind of movie, which I never expected to find in a horror movie. I highly recommend this one if you're a fan of movies like Shaun of the Dead and any other horror comedy film, and you can watch it on Hulu. There you go, those are my favorite indie horror movies of 2019. So far. What are your favorite horror movies of this year? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you have any other recommendations, you can let me know on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram if you look for Cineclub channel. Also, I just created a Patreon account. I haven't announced it officially yet, but it will be linked below if you want to check it out and support my channel. It would mean a lot. But for now, I want to say thank you so much for watching my Halloween series. Check out my previous video in case you missed it, and subscribe and click on the bell to stay tuned for more. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on our next horror movie date.